Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair. I have a new Blackview phone here, the BV8900. I actually looked at the previous model, the BL8800, and the reason I'm looking at these mobile phones, both of them have thermal camera by FLIR. So rather than taking a plug-in thermal camera, these actually have a thermal camera built into the phone. Now the previous one I looked at had a thermal camera with a resolution of 80 by 60, which is lower than most or if not all of the standalone thermal cameras. But what the phone was able to do was quite a clever trick, so it could mix optical image with the thermal image at the same time. And this gave us a much higher resolution image. So although the thermal image was of a low resolution compared with some, because of the overlay, it was actually very easy to see where the hot components were. So Blackview asked me if I would take a look at their new phone, which is this one. I am doing that today. And as before, because this is an electronics repair channel, we're not going to go into the full specifications of this phone. Others are doing that, but we are going to look specifically at the thermal imaging capabilities to see how well it works, how useful this is for our repair work. So let's unbox the phone and let's take a look. There is some information on the back of the packaging, so we can take a quick look at this. It's Android phone. This shows you the processor, octa-core 2 GHz processor. The screen itself, 6.5 inch practically, full HD. This is 1080 by 2400 the screen. It's an IPS screen. We can see we have front camera 16 megapixel, rear camera 64 megapixel plus SMP. 8 gig of RAM, which I believe is expandable to 16 gig, and 256 gig of ROM. So that's a rough specification of the phone. The BV8900, like all Blackview phones, because they specialise in this, are rugged phones. So the purpose of this, in particular, one of them is effectively for use in active lifestyles, mountaineering and such like. This is waterproof, it's drop proof, shock proof. We can just get inside it and we will see. Okay, I've removed the plastic covering. We'll remove the screen protector. So this is the phone. You can see this really is quite large. It's thick, it's chunky. It's quite heavy, best part of 400 grams, I believe. Model BV8900. Of course, we are most interested in the thermal imaging, so let's get the phone powered up, see if it has some charging, and let's go straight to what we're most interested in. Yes, it comes with the battery charged. This feels extremely solid, by the way, extremely solidly built, really. More so than the previous model, the 8800 that I looked at. And we go into the usual settings. English we can live with. United States, unless we have an other option. English, we'll just go to English. United Kingdom, why not? Although I'm living in Spain, of course. Okay, start. And connect to the mobile phone. I don't have a SIM card inserted at the moment. I'm just going to see if I can get this to actually run without the SIM. Yeah, I can connect to my Wi-Fi. Just basically told it no, 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 skip, 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 and we're in. So we have the camera straight away. Let's have a look at the thermal camera. I think it may be this one. As I remember, these have two different options, one for the normal camera and one for the thermal camera. Let's have a look. Yes, it has an option called My FLIR. This one I think is the one. And we're on. Okay. I've left a very nice handprint on the bench there, so that is definitely working. That is sensitive. This is the first thing I always test for. Okay. I have a motherboard here. This is a working motherboard. On the phone, you have a separate app for the normal camera, which is this one. Camera recording video and photos. This is a 4K camera. But we have a separate camera app called My FLIR for the thermal camera. So if we go to here, just let it launch, takes a few seconds. And you can see we have a thermal image of the motherboard, but we also can see the writing on the motherboard, for example. This is something you could not do with the other types of thermal cameras I've used. This is something a little bit unique to this one. Okay, I'll switch the motherboard on and I'll show you some of the various modes we have on here, but I'll also record as well, so because of the reflection from my overhead lights, it's probably going to be easier for you to see the recording. I'll switch the motherboard on now. Okay, it's running, and you can see things instantly start to warm up. And you can see coloured spots. I'll just move it a little bit further away where you can see it. Okay. So what you actually have is the thermal image and the optical image. Now you'll see they're not exactly lined up at the moment, but we have a setting for this. So we go to the little settings and then to the sliders on here. Okay. We can change a number of settings in here, as you can see. And one of the options is image realignment utility. So we go to this one. I'll hold the camera a little bit further away from the motherboard. Okay, you can see there. And then what we do is we effectively take a snapshot. So we hit the little camera symbol here. I'll just find an interesting part that will work nicely for us. Yeah, this is fine. We can see the south bridge there and the other chips. So we hit the camera button and that freezes the picture. And we can now adjust the image using the sliders, so we can actually alter the position of the image and we can alter the rotation of the image. So we can use this to line up the thermal image with the optical image. Okay, once we've done that, we hit save. What I've noticed with the alignment utility, and it's pretty close now, I pretty much have the image on top of each other, is the instructions I was given were not quite what I need to do. So you can see there the image, okay, and we effectively take a snapshot of that. Now, rather than moving the sliders, I found the easiest way is to move the image with my finger to get it to line up, but I've noticed there is a slight offset, so I have to put the image a little bit lower than where I want it, and when I save that, I find it gives me what I was looking for. Yeah, you can see there. So that's how you actually align the two images together, and once you know that little trick, it works fine. I could move it a little bit sideways from there, but you see the principle, so it's not a problem. The other slider actually allows you to rotate the image. So we now have the thermal camera working. So although the thermal images are relatively low resolution compared with some thermal cameras, this trick it does with the optical image actually makes it very clear as where the heat is. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to record on the phone so we can watch this video directly. I'm recording on the phone. There's a number of different colour schemes on here you can play with, but the one I particularly like is this one, which is hottest. So what this scale actually does, it actually shows you the hottest temperature it's found. We just move over there, 58.6. Okay, we have another point here on this chip. It's very difficult for me to do this and give you a view for you guys, but you'll see the recording, 58.2. So this very clearly shows you what is hottest. I'll now start the phone recording. It's easier for me to show you the recording than it is to actually show you on the screen like this. We can put the graticule on, we have the thermometer on. You can switch these various options on and off, as you can see. Okay. This mode is my favorite mode. This is the hot point, so it just literally shows you where it's hottest. Okay, we can put the graticule on, we can also put a square on. So we can see that chip is 54.4. Go further across the board, there's another hot spot there. Just hold it straight. 57.4, which I've got to go steady. Okay. We can clearly see all the transistors and chips and things on here very clearly. What I have noticed is you have to switch the recording off when you switch the mode. You can't do it with the mode switched on. We can look at some of the other options on here. This one also is quite nice. Again, I can record on this one. So literally find a mode that you like the best. I actually prefer that hotspot one that we were just using. I'll now start the phone recording. It's easier for me to show you the recording than it is to actually show you on the screen like this. We can put the graticule on, we have the thermometer on. You can switch these various options on and off, as you can see. Okay. This mode is my favorite mode. This is the hot point, so it just literally shows you where it's hottest. Here we can put the graticule on, we can also put a square on. So we can see that chip is 54.4. Go further across the board, there's another hot spot there. Just hold it straight. .4, which I've got to go steady. Okay. We can clearly see all the transistors and chips and things on here very clearly. We have another hot spot over here. We can go up to the MOSFETs and the VRM. You'll see them show very clearly. There we go, so you can see them. We can also put a square on, by the way, as well, which will show you the hottest and coldest points in that square. It's quite nice. Again, I can record on this one. So literally find a mode that you like the best. I actually prefer that hotspot one that we were just using. So really, I would say this performs pretty much the same as the model I reviewed last year, the BV8900. Very similar performance, the resolution is the same, the optical plus thermal overlay is the same. It works much like the other one. I think this is quite an interesting device. I mean, clearly you can buy, and I've demonstrated, thermal cameras in much higher resolution than this one. None of those had this little trick where we can see the optical image at the same time. It's something I do like, but for less money you can get a higher quality, or rather a higher resolution thermal image. But this is effectively a multifunctional device. It's a rugged smartphone. This is designed for outdoor lifestyles in particular. It's very solid. You can drop this from quite a height and it will survive. You can hold this underwater for 30 minutes. It's absolutely fine. And it has a lot of other options. It has a very long battery life, a very high powered battery. This is meant if you go out into the wilderness for 4 or 5 days. This phone is not going to go flat. It's going to hold a charge, work for a long time. So really, I would say personally, if you want the phone or you're looking for a rugged phone, And something also like this is something you can very easily use on site. If that's what you want, this is a kind of all-in-one, and it makes a very good thermal camera. It's very good for thermal inspection. It definitely does the job. If you just want a thermal camera for the bench, or even one of the handheld guns you can use on site, or for that matter one of the little plug-in ones for a mobile phone, it's a cheaper option. It just comes down at the end, what do they say, it's horses for courses. So I can recommend this as I recommended the previous one if it suits your requirements, but depending on what your requirement is, there will be other options that may well suit you better. I will keep this around. I will definitely use this. I have a number of uses for this. Also on my other YouTube channel, the one where we're exploring Gran Canaria. This is going to be very handy, for example, when I film the water fight at one of the fiestas in the summer. I don't have to worry about the equipment getting wet, and it's a very capable 4K camera. But this is effectively what I was trying to say. If it suits your use, have a good look at it. If I have any discount codes, I will put them in the video description below. This is a very new product. It actually launches on the 12th of June, which is probably 2 days after when you see this video. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you all soon on another Weird Electronics Repair video. Ciao for now, guys.